We'll start with Paul, then we'll go to Sam.
Coach, obviously you've been in a lot of rivalry games, but to look at the stats and to see the way you out-rebounded them, but kind of uncharacteristic with turnovers, what kind of went through your mind when the buzzer sounded to get a win like that?
What went through my mind? That's a whole lot of stuff, but I was just happy we won. I was happy for our guys. I was happy for our program, certainly the fans that were here and elsewhere supporting us. You know, we talked very bluntly with our guys about what this game means to people in Starkville and everywhere. The Bulldogs, you know, everywhere, not just here in our community or our state, but I'm sure for the fans it was a heck of a college basketball game. I don't know how they feel about it, but it's a lot going on, a lot of big plays, a lot of big shots, a lot of big turnovers. You mentioned the turnovers. I mean, got to give them a lot of credit. It's what they do. It's what they do. They're really good at it. I thought we'd be a little bit better. Some of them were just silly plays, silly passes, but their pressure had a lot to do with it as well.
Go ahead to Sam against the wall.
Chris, I don't know if you noticed in the moment, but when Riley Coogle first checked into the game, he got a pretty loud applause from the crowd, even though he only missed one game. It wasn't like he was out for a month or something. But it seems like the fans are starting to notice his importance to this team. And do you feel like his performance today kind of just showed, how important he is to this group?
Possibly. You know, he's just had to get healthy. You know, he had 2 injuries in the same game against Kentucky when he was, when he's kind of cooking a little bit, and he was, and that certainly hurt us. And then, he tried to get ready for Auburn and couldn't go, and then felt, good coming into today. And, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy that our fans get it, and they, cheer for our guys and make them feel good. The thing with him has always been consistency, and hopefully, if he strings some games together, that'll be the case.
Go ahead, we'll go Robbie, then Benjamin, front row left.
Murph and Coogle come up huge for you off the bench, and I think you had 44 points off the bench, something like that. Depth, again, proves to be really good for you at this point. What did you think about specifically those 2 guys and the lift that they brought you down the stretch, because they were in that group that you had for most of the late in the second half and in overtime?
Yeah, I thought everybody that played had some significant contributions to the game. With Murphy, we expect that and rely on it, 8 for 12, double-double, 3 assists. That's just kind of who he is for us. And like we talk a lot about, once you establish yourself, if you're a really good offensive rebounder, then, you need to do it all the time. And if you're, scoring for us or whatever the facet is in the game, you need to be accountable for it all the time. It can't be, when you feel like it, et cetera. And been talking to Murph about his rebounding. The first 3 SEC conference games, he had 1 offensive rebound. And, we've been on him about that because he'd been pretty steady in the rebounding department up until league play. And it's good to see him, have 11 against this quality team.
RJ, with that huge chase down block leading to Riley's go-ahead 3-pointer, what can you say just about the hustle and intensity that he showed on that play? Where bodies flying all over, and it looked like they got a breakaway out of it, but he didn't think so. Yeah, again, there's a lot of big plays, but I told the radio I thought that was by far the play of the game. If that doesn't happen, they lay it in. Who knows? And that's kind of how it works. There's always pivotal plays as you look back. You're not sure when they're going to happen, but that certainly was a big one. And Matt Murrell, in regulation, he played awfully well. I don't know what his line is, but he just got it going there in the second half. He had the 2 fouls in the first half, and they put the ball in his hands, and it was a little bit too early to foul. We had talked about if it got down to 7-6-5, and the thing now is the players all understand that everyone's trying to foul, and so you kind of get caught with your hand in the cookie jar and give up a foul on 3 or even a made 3. I've seen that get close to happening with the kids understanding what everybody's trying to do. But that shot was a big shot. It took out some wind out of our sails, and
when you go into overtime, you never know what your composure and your makeup's going to be. And I was glad that our guys stuck together and found a way.
We'll go Brian, second row middle, and then we'll go to Jacob.
You answered my question about not fouling there. The other question I would have is, did you consider calling a timeout there after the made shot?
Yeah, hindsight's 20/20, and certainly I wish I would have now. But over my experience, you just get more out of getting the ball out of the net and pushing it when it's that kind of time left in the game. And it's something we work on quite a bit in our practices. And they know, I'm going to call it if I want. Don't look over, play. Get it out of the net and let's go and see what the defense gives you. And we had the ball in, a playmaker's hands, and we just didn't get as good a shot as we would have liked.
Coach, early in the game, their defense was really confusing Ole Miss. Every shot they put up was toward the end of the shot clock. I guess early in the game, what were we all doing defensively?
Yeah, they were really on it. They were very assignment correct defensively, and our guys took away some of the stuff they run, but obviously they got an excellent staff with Coach Barrett and everybody else over there, and they adjusted and went to some more ball screens for a while, and we figured that out, and then they went to a lot of motion. In the end, we just started switching all the ball screens and just trying to play. They were playing the ISO game, and we were just trying to see if we could guard them that way. But early we were really, really good, and we had one of our better shoot-arounds this morning, and so I was excited that maybe we'd get off to a good start, and they did.
Go ahead, Paul.
Coach, I asked Murph the same question, and I know you kind of don't want to say a game in January is a must-win game, but being at home and all, but it seems like in your first 2.5 years here, every time your guys have had their backs against the wall, they've responded and gotten a win when it was needed more than ever. What does that kind of say about, I guess, your program in general with the kind of guys you got underneath you?
Yeah, I'll let you guys figure that out, but I told a couple people already, I didn't tell the team that this was a must-win for this team, but it certainly was for me internally, just for a lot of factors. And I don't know if we had a bigger must-win than today going into the game, in my opinion. Just, first year, second year, now third year, like if you're trying to, make steps to where we're trying to put this program at, lost 2 in a row, got to go on the road for 2 more. Obviously, it's a rivalry game. Just everything added up to this was going to be a big turning point for us, in my opinion, one way or another. And but our guys didn't play like that. I thought our guys obviously came out the gates really loose and confident and comfortable, and certainly the crowd had a lot to do with that. They were unbelievable, especially the first 15 minutes of the game, and I was happy that our guys had that kind of mentality coming out of the gates.
You talk about feeling like this was a must-win. It's just Game 5, and you got a top 10 team coming up on the road. I mean, how difficult is this every day to just prepare for the gauntlet that you have to go through in this league?
I mean, if you'd asked me that last year, I'd have probably said it's pretty difficult, right? And the year before, pretty difficult. Certainly because of the fall that the programs in the SEC had. At that time, it was like, man, this is awesome. Your quad games are going to be stacked. And that's kind of what you want at that point in the year. And then now that you're going through, you're like, oh, my gosh, like this is unbelievable. And I talked to one of their assistants after the game, and we shared, our sentiments, talking about that. But, if you're a competitor, that's what you want. And I think my guys are competitors, and I think our staff is competitors. And, you want to play in the biggest stage, and you want to play against the best teams, and we're getting the opportunity to do that. We'll have opportunities all year long doing that.
We got time for a few more. We'll go to Rick and then Brian.
Chris, Diaw, since the SEC started, he's averaged 21 and 11 tonight, 8 and 2. Was that a big emphasis for y'all before?
I mean, it wasn't like, hey, we got to stop him to beat him, but he certainly had our full attention because of how well he's been playing and his confidence. And he's a hard guard. You know, he's got the big old body, and he's 250, but he moves like a 3-4. You know, he bounces it like, you know, he's got perimeter skills, and then he, you know, can shoot that shot, and he's proven to be able to make it. And then his rebounding prowess has gotten better and better. So, you know, we were certainly keenly aware of him and talked a lot about him. He got the 2 fouls, so that didn't help, you know, his cause and his rhythm. That probably, but at the second half, I think I know 1, maybe 2, if I'm not mistaken, but definitely 1 of his threes were in the second half. But yeah, he's been playing awfully well, and you know, I'm glad that we did the job that we did on him.
Brian, Jacob, Sam to wrap us up.
Melendez makes that block, and then Hubbard lobs it up to Cam, who finds Coogle there in the corner. The moment where Cam sort of realizes in midair, I'm not going to get to the rim, I need to pass this. Is that something you're going to take credit for coaching for him there, or are you going to give that to Cam?
You know the answer to that. A lot of things they do, there's no credit to be given to us, at least on our staff anyway. And he's just so instinctual. You know, it's why we love him. We ran offense through him a lot in the second half with the back down game, and you know, we thought they'd monster, and he did a beautiful job reading if they were or weren't. But yeah, that Melendez play was unbelievable because offensively he didn't have a great night. You know, he hit a big shot, had a big block, but he was, you know, 2 for 8 from 3, and he's such a good shooter. Every time he shoots it, I think it's going in. And but that was a heck of a play, a heck of an exchange, and you know, you could argue it probably won the game.
Coach, it was a pretty hectic last 20 seconds of regulation. Kind of, what did you tell your team in the huddle going into overtime to kind of calm them down and get them ready?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of. I told the radio I saw some droopy faces when it was time for me to sit down, and certainly as the coach, that's not what you're looking for. So we try to kind of reset it, and as best that I could, try to, you know, get them energized again, and you know, ready to go. You know, ready to play. You know, we got a lot of game left, and you know, we can't let how it ended, you know, prick our balloon and let that emotion, you know, take over and not compete. So I thought, you know, they came out of there and did a pretty good job of resetting themselves and understanding that it was going to take more time. You know, there's going to be more ball, and they had to lock in.
All right, thank you, guys. See some of you Tuesday in Knoxville.